knew it was here.
Sir, weather's disrupting the signal, but we'll be able to teleport him onto the rig's main deck.
Dr. Hayden, ready to launch the package, sir.
Whenever you're ready. We cannot regain control of Urdak without the Seraphim's help. You broke the seal when you awakened the icon of sin in their world. The balance between their two dimensions has been broken with the demons now in control of Urdak.
Portal ready in 3, 2...
Doom Eternal is by far the best first-person shooter experience to get in 2020. The combat, beautifully crafted. The story, but the overall raw gameplay of this absolute masterpiece of a game will make you want more. And id Software definitely delivered. They released a DLC back in mid-October titled The Ancient Gods Part 1. Now, if you've read the title and you watch the intro, you know exactly what I'm about to get into. In this video, I'm going to talk about how the Ancient Gods improved on the gameplay of Doom Eternal. I'm going to talk about the difficulty of this DLC. I'm going to talk about the story, the music, as well as what I want for Ancient Gods Part 2. Now, enough beating around the bush. Let's find out how the Ancient Gods improved on Doom Eternal. Well, I guess before we do get into how the DLC improved on the core gameplay, we need to go back and find out why this game was so good in the first place. Doom Eternal was a much needed breath of fresh air in the first-person shooter genre, as cover mechanics, reloading, recharging health, and slow gameplay has just become a staple of the genre now. Shooters nowadays care a lot more about the atmospheric attributes of the game rather than the core gameplay itself. Balancing weapons and making sure each part of the sandbox has a unique role to play inside of the game. Obviously, there are outliers, but for the most part, it's basically all the same. Grab gun, shoot enemy, take damage, hide behind cover. It's all pretty much the same. But what if your health didn't recharge? You didn't have to reload, and enemies were just as smart as you. Yeah, it sounds great. And you know what game offers that? Doom. Honestly, each part of the sandbox is crafted with absolute care. Each weapon in the sandbox has a unique role to play. There are lots of different weapons and ways to dispose of demons in Doom Eternal. You've got the shotgun, the super shotgun, the heavy cannon, the plasma rifle, the minigun, the ballista, the rocket launcher, the BFG, and the Unmaker, not even to mention the grenades, the ice bomb, the blood punch, or the crucible. These weapons expanded on an already expansive game. Your minigun wasn't just to spray down fodder, you can use it to stun, well, Hell Knights, Dread Knights, Barons. The minigun works great against those. Plasma lock combos work extensively well on demons that seem to be a little bit too slippery. Lock-on rockets can also just delete heavy enemies. The precision bolt can be used to disarm weak points in demons. That Arachnotron bugging you from across the map with his laser spam? Well, now it's gone! Thanks, precision bolt. It's great. The sandbox was beautifully crafted. And obviously, the gore of this game was just top tier. It's almost cartoony gory, which is actually what they were going for. Doom 2016 was taken in more of a horror genre, where Doom Eternal is more of just like an open-world arcadey beat-em-up game. And honestly, it's great. It works great for that genre. You know, the horror shooter might have been what Doom Eternal was always going for, but in Doom Eternal, they take that and they crank it all the way to 11 with the action. Seriously, the amount of glory kills you can get on the demons is great. And obviously, there's haters too with every great thing. I probably looked like a hater in the last video I made. I probably was. But fast gameplay and good weapon balancing has always just been something that I feel like should be required in a shooter. Yeah, realistic shooters are fun, and honestly, I respect them. But with good AI and good weapon balancing, they can be just as good as a fast-paced shooter as Doom. Unfortunately, most of them don't do that. But hey, now that we've got this little tidbit out of the way, let's move on to the Ancient Gods. Well, with all this talk about how great Doom Eternal was, you can already tell how excited I am to talk about this DLC. For starters, this DLC requires more mastery of the combat loop than the original game. In the original game, some people have actually been able to get past a lot of the levels and even complete the game just by using a couple weapons they like. And frankly, I was a person who also played like that. I used just the super shotgun, the ballista, and the rocket launcher. Those were the only weapons I really used. You know, I'd regulate my plasma rifle to just being, well, cool stuff, I guess. But I never really used a lot of my sandbox, even though I had it. Even when I'd be playing at a high level, I wouldn't really use a lot of the weapons I'd unlocked, let alone the attachments for them. Yeah, the weapons had attachments on them. I forgot to cover that in my last segment, but the weapons each have unique weapon mods that give them another superb ability on top of everything else they bring to the combat loop of Doom Eternal. You've got the full auto mod for the combat shotgun. You've got the sticky bombs for the combat shotgun. You've got freaking micro missiles for the assault rifle, precision bolt for the assault rifle. You've got the destroyer blade for the ballista, the arbalist, the microwave beam for the plasma rifle. You've got the plasma burst for the plasma rifle, you know, the mobile turret attachment for the chain gun, and the shield as well. That thing is broken beyond belief and will save you in Ultra Nightmare runs. I just need to learn how to get good with it. You've also got remote detonation for the rocket launcher as well as a lock-on burst with it. These mods all basically make the weapon different. It adds to it. And these underrated weapon mods completely shine in the Ancient Gods DLC. There's a lot more super heavies in tight spaces, so the lock-on rockets aren't really that useful unless you're just trying to take down, well, maybe a pestering Arachnotron from across the arena. But remote detonation for the rocket launcher and its ability to falter demons comes in way handy when dealing with nearly 6 tyrants in one arena. There's, I think, 12 barons in the first level alone of the DLC, not including the Slayer Gate, which is an optional challenge on top of the level. That's a lot of super heavy demons. And speaking of demons, the Ancient Gods adds in 3 new types of demons, all of which are actually completely unique, well, except for the last one. 2 of them are completely unique concepts, and actually add a lot to the game in terms of difficulty, fun, and just, well, adding to the depth. The first one is the turret. You encounter this turret in the first level of the Ancient Gods. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically a demon sentry gun. Now, if you played through the original campaign, you'll realize that these turrets have actually been in the game before, but they were never really a common enemy. You mainly found them in Necrovol as part of the mini-boss. I don't really know what to call that giant brain in the middle of that room. But yeah, you'll recognize the turrets from there. When you kill a turret, it actually drops ammo. And high-level players can actually use these turrets and farm them for the ammo that they give. Now, these turrets aren't as easy to kill as the other ones, mainly because, well, if you've got your crosshair on them for too long, they actually go and hide. And if you look at them for too long, they also go and hide. So you can actually take them out with a quick 1-2. You send a rocket their way and time it just right with a precision bolt, you can kill them in one shot, so you won't even need to deal with them. Another way you can do this is by using a sticky bomb or a ballista. Exactly, there's tons of ways to take these turrets down just to get the ammo from them. And that little bit extra ammo can actually help in a pinch if you need it. The second demon, which you encounter on the Blood Swamps, is the Spirit. The Spirit is actually a kind of returning demon from 2016, except it doesn't work in the same way in the slightest. The Summoner from 2016 worked basically like an Archvile. It would spawn demons forever until you killed it. The Summoner in Doom Eternal, however, possesses other demons, giving them resistances, crazy resistances, to nearly all attacks. And depending on what demon it possesses, it will have unique resistances that are actually higher against certain weapon types. These demons can't be faltered, their weak points can't be destroyed, they can't be frozen, and they can't be chainsawed. I know that sounds a bit scary, and trust me, it is. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that they attack a lot faster and get a speed boost too, which is nuts. And a good way to deal with them is just by using Blood Punch, the chain gun shield. And I know I just hyped up the remote detonation rocket mod, but seriously, lock-on rockets absolutely melts a possessed Hell Knight. Yeah, it's great. I love these demons actually. They add a whole new level of challenge to the DLC and to the game in general. The last demon I want to talk about is actually introduced on the 3rd level. It's known as the Blood Angel, or the Blood Maker, however you want to call them. These guys are actually corrupted Maker Angels that now fight for the Legions of Hell. And you can tell they're evil because, ooh, red clothes, red staff. Yeah, although I think, if I remember correctly, the Maker drones in the Khan Maker boss fight were also red. I don't know if there's any correlation there. These demons actually have a shield, and they're impervious to all attacks until that shield goes down. But when their shield does go down, they're actually really weak, and one headshot will pop them. It's nice because they give you ammo. 2 of these demons are actually really nice because they give you ammo. I didn't really like the Blood Makers when they were first added in because I thought they slowed the game down. And then I began to open up and I saw that, well, I don't have to focus them down all the time. I can just fight other demons and kill them when they're ready. These demons are actually really needed for the game, and I'm super happy that they were added. But enough about the demons, let's talk about the maps. The 3 maps that were added in the Ancient Gods campaign were the UAC Atlantica facility, the Blood Swamps, and the Equestrian Holt. All 3 of these locations take place in the 3 different realms that you mainly visit throughout the actual main campaign of Doom Eternal. The only one that's missing is Sentinel Prime, but that's not really a realm, it's a planet. Obviously, the UAC Atlantica facility is an Atlantic research facility that's disguised as an oil rig in, well, the Atlantic Ocean. The second location is the Blood Swamps that Dr. Hayden actually pointed out in the original campaign, and is basically where all the souls that aren't fit for soul extraction are sent to, I guess for torment purposes. And the Equestrian Holt is an area on Urdak, and if you look around, you can just really tell how much work went into making that environment because of all the destroyed buildings, the trees, the lightning, and just the beautiful aesthetic of that area. Basically, it's like taking a walk through a private garden. It's truly beautiful. Now, all 3 of these maps all introduce the demons, as I said, and well, there is another demon that was added. It's called the Spectre Whiplash, which is basically just the Sneck Lady that you can't use lock-on rockets with, so it's not different enough for me to talk about it individually. And honestly, I gotta say, these maps are beautiful. The UAC Atlantica facility really gave me Doom 2016 vibes, and I love that game just as much as this one. The second one, the Blood Swamps, is probably my favorite background soundtrack in the entirety of this DLC, followed only second by Level 3. Level 3 soundtrack is the second favorite, as I just said, you know what? Let's actually talk about the soundtracks now. So what makes a Doom soundtrack good? Well, it's gotta pump you up. It's gotta make you feel like what you're doing is super duper sweet. And it's gotta have a nice, like, riff and just tone all around. Doom soundtracks have been composed, for the most part, by the one and only legend Mick Gordon, famous for his other works in both Prey and Killer Instinct. He had a long way to go before he reached the top to such giant games with legendary soundtracks, but he surely made it up there. But unfortunately, for the Ancient Gods DLC, Mick actually did not compose this one. The pleasure was given to Andrew Hulshult and David Levy. I'm not very familiar with David Levy's work, but I am familiar with Andrew Hulshult's. Hulshult has actually worked on the Dusker soundtrack, which is another soundtrack that I really, really love. The soundtrack they composed for Doom is nothing less of amazing. It captures all those core parts as to what made the Doom soundtrack super cool. And they both had pretty much an equal part in composing the soundtrack mainly. David Levy was pretty much responsible for the Trial of Malagog theme and the Equestrian Holt theme, whereas I think Andrew Hulshult worked on the UAC Atlantica facility soundtrack as well as the Blood Swamps, which is my favorite soundtrack in the DLC. These guys put a lot of time and effort into this soundtrack, and it definitely shows. I absolutely love it. There are about 5 soundtracks in the Ancient Gods DLC. There's the UAC Atlantica facility, there's the Blood Swamps, the Equestrian Holt, Shady Hayden I think is what it's called, which is the boss theme for, well, I'll get into that later. And the last one is the Trial of Malagog, which is also, I'll get later into when we go to the story section of this. But ranked wise, I think the Blood Swamps is my favorite, followed by the Equestrian Holt, Trial of Malagog, UAC Atlantica, and then Shady Hayden. I love all these soundtracks. Just because they're ranked like that, that doesn't mean the last two I don't like at all. These soundtracks are nothing short of amazing. UAC Atlantica takes me back to that classic Doom feeling of just rip and tear. I know it's a bit of a cringy line and a meme in the Doom community, but it hits home with that soundtrack. I love the Blood Swamps, just absolute metal tone, adrenaline-filled riffs that just make you go nuts, you know? It's amazing. And I love the absolute electronic aesthetic of the Equestrian Holt. It's a purely electronic track done with synths and all sorts of other gizmos done by David Levy, and it is an amazing soundtrack. Shady Hayden though, it's my least favorite, but I still love it. Oh yeah, and the Trial of Malagog. The Trial of Malagog theme was also another one done by David Levy, and it's obviously one of my favorites. But it just has this Doom riff and background stuff that you always get, you know? When listening to Mick stuff, it wasn't just heavy guitars, drums, and a whole bunch of other stuff. There was always subtle undertones of electronic music in there as well, and I really loved it, and it was captured perfectly in the Trial of Malagog theme. These soundtracks are amazing, and if you've got time, definitely give one of them a listen. As I said before, these soundtracks are definitely amazing. You won't regret listening to them. But now it's time to move on to part 4 of this video. Yeah, the story. Let's get into it. So, the story. Yeah, no beating around the bush here. Let's get into it. So, after the Doomslayer defeated the Icon of Sin in the original game, the storyline progresses pretty much exactly how it happened. And at the start of the Ancient Gods, it very quickly tells you what, like, sort of state the universe is in after the Khan Maker had awakened the Icon of Sin inside of Urdak. This ended up having huge repercussions for the universe itself. All of reality is in danger of the demons using Urdak's portals to escape to other realms and also consume them and add to itself. Now, in Doom, Hell is actually its own sort of living being, which means that as long as there are demons, Hell will always survive. And the Doomslayer knows this. So, the Doomslayer ended up working with Samuel Hayden again to try and revive the Father, an ancient being and the creator of the universe itself. A being so powerful that his mere footsteps created the realms as we knew them in the Doom universe. So, as you could imagine, it seems that he would probably be the only being capable of destroying the demons and resealing the void to where they couldn't escape any. So, after traveling to the UAC Atlantica facility, we find out that under this so-called oil rig in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, there's another facility deep underwater that houses the body of the Seraphim. After Samuel Hayden transfers his conscience into this body, it's quickly noticed that Samuel Hayden was the Seraphim. There have been clues pointing back to it, even in the original campaign of Doom Eternal, where the intern says that his cortex is all alien and they couldn't figure it out. So that's a pretty big red flag as to how Samuel Hayden isn't actually from Earth and is merely a maker using a robotic body. Samuel Hayden, or as he's now known as in his maker body, Samur Maker, tells you that the only way to revive the Father is to retrieve his life sphere in the Blood Swamps. And in the top of the Blood Swamps, after completing the trial of Malagog, the Titan that was put there to protect the Ingmar Sanctum. The Ingmar Sanctum is where all of the life spheres are kept of both evil and benign beings. The Father and the Dark Lord, also known as the Devil, are located. After the Slayer completes the trial, Malagog takes him up to the top of the Ingmar Sanctum and allows him to choose one life sphere to take to the Luminarium to be brought back by the Seraphs. Of course, as what we all would have thought would happen, he'd take the Father's life sphere so the Father could remove the demons and reseal the void. He grabs the Father's life sphere and destroys it, which means that the Father can no longer be conjured into a physical form. However, he does take the Dark Lord sphere, and after bringing it back, the only person who wanted to work with the Doomslayer still was the intern. The intern was always kind of this dorky guy who's just a fan of the Doomslayer, and I looking back on it, I feel like he's just a representation of the community and how we feel towards these games. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. He sets the portal to the Equestrian Hold, and the Doomslayer fights through the demons that have inhabited that area, including the corrupted angels. Once he reaches the room before the Luminarium, he's stopped. Stopped by Samur Maker. And it's very quickly shown that he's not feeling well. And after the Doomslayer loads 2 shotgun shots, we know why he had a hunch. After the robes and the robotic armor is removed, it's shown to be this nasty, disgusting, fleshy purple being that looks more animalistic rather than elegant as makers are often shown to be portrayed as. The fight with Samur happens after, and he didn't stand a chance to the Doomslayer, as predicted. And right as you're about to remove him, this thorn in your side, since you've been playing Doom, the one dude who's been across both games in this reboot, you're about to kill him and finally end the grudge you've had against him for 4 years. And he's saved by the Father, which turns out was Vega. Vega was hinted at being the Father in the last game after you plugged him into Erdak's network, so that way he can realign the slip space gate and get you back to Earth to fight the Icon of Sin. And after he's saved by the Father, you enter the Luminarium, and the Seraphs there, which are loyal to anyone who completes the trial of Malagog, take the life sphere of the Dark Lord. And the Dark Lord is revealed to be Hell's version of the Doomslayer, which is nuts. Because you know how powerful the Doomslayer is. the only person who can stand against Hell's armies. And there's an evil version of him who's the leader of those armies. Yeah. Hopefully having him as Hell's version of the Doomslayer will add to this fight in terms of character and just overall connection to the fight. If it was a disconnected bad guy to kill, yeah, it'd be fun, I guess, but we wouldn't really have a reason to kill him. I want this guy to make me feel like the only thing I want in this game, in this DLC, is him dead, in the ground, gone. I want to feel like that. I want to feel like killing Truth in Halo 3. The only thing I want in life is him dead. And hopefully, in the next DLC, it's gonna be a reality. I'm really excited. And speaking of the next DLC, let's hop right into that. So, this is the last point I want to talk about before I get to the outro. And it's what I want in the next DLC. And I know it's a bit late for me to be asking what I want in there, as I know how long it takes for development processes to get done. I actually did work in development for some games, and I actually helped tested mods for other games. And I know it's a long process. But if they somehow get these into the game, I would be more than happy. I just want a new weapon, which I already know is confirmed. I've been keeping up with all the news in the community, and I'm super excited that we're getting a new weapon. I want it to be a gun. A super weapon, if you will. The BFG and the Unmaker are the other super weapons, so hopefully it is another super weapon. Also, I'd love for there to be a couple more demons added, and I'd love for them to, I wouldn't say really end the story off with killing the Dark Lord, but rather than just keeping him alive for just a little bit longer at the end of this DLC, or weakening him, or trapping him, or something that gives him the ability to come back later, if they need him to come back. Because if they end it off right there, I mean, how much farther can you go from defeating the literal leader of Hell, aside from just destroying the realm altogether? But maybe that is part of the next DLC or other game that's going to come out. And I guess really the final thing I want in this video, or not in this video, in the DLC when it comes out, is just for the maps to be creative and fresh. The Ancient Gods maps were completely creative and fresh. There's no map in the original base game that looks and has the same atmosphere as those maps. Maybe Urdak and the Equestrian Hold, but the Equestrian Hold has a completely different vibe than Urdak. And I'm really excited that they managed to take the time and the detail for the development process of Part 1 to make it such an amazing DLC, and I'm super excited for Part 2. Well, this is it. The end of the video. If you watch for this long, put the word fish paste in the comments. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, and you guys want me to actually cover the original Doom game, or the original Doom game, Doom Eternal, Doom 2016, any of those, or any game in general, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to do it if it would make you guys happy. And I got a couple things I want to say before I end this video. This is actually my second time recording this whole video, because my files got corrupted, and the gameplay I recorded, as well as the cutscenes and all that other stuff, all of the music I put into, and the effort and the cutting and the splicing and the transitions and all that, was corrupted, and I lost the entire project. It was about an entire day's worth of work, and it was just gone in an instant. So I had to restart twice, actually. But on the second time, I didn't really do much, so I just completely scrapped that one before I got in deep. So this is the actual second attempt that you're hearing right now. I hope it was up to snuff and a much more needed quality boost, as my last video was actually pretty cringy to watch. This one's probably still going to be cringy to watch because I'm not used to hearing my own voice in recordings. But you guys might want more from me, and if you guys want any more videos on this channel that aren't gaming related or are a different type of gaming related, if that makes any sense, also let me know. I'd be more than happy to do those as well. I'm thinking of uploading my own music to this channel as well, see if you guys are interested in what I've been making or recording aside from videos or video games. So yeah, leave a like if you liked the video, leave a dislike if you didn't like the video, and even if you don't feel like commenting anything, I really feel like you should though. It's good. It allows me to get in touch with you guys and see what you want from the channel and from me as a creator. And as I said before, I'd be more than happy to make other types of videos on this channel as well, because this isn't really just a gaming channel. This is stuff I want to make and show off to the world. Also, I'm making a BitChute channel. I'll link that in the description, along with I guess my inspiration for creating videos in the first place. And well, is there anything else I really want to include in this outro? This is more just me. It's not really a scripted thing. But I think that's it. So I'll see you guys later. And like I said, if you want to get in touch, just leave a comment and I'll reply, or try to. See ya.